Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your Manchester United versus Manchester City Manchester Derby preview. Also, some very interesting transfer updates from David Ornstein amongst others in relation to Victor Osimhen. Some people are saying we're in for him. Some people are saying he's off to Saudi. We'll talk about that as well and a few other bits. But look, let's fly straight into what this is. It's a Manchester Derby preview. It's Manchester United against Manchester City. It's at Old Trafford. It's on Sunday. There is some protest update we've got to give you as well. But it is also a game that Manchester United need to win. And I understand that some people are a little bit, fed up with United at the moment, but we play Lyon a week tonight and the second leg is a week after that. We play Man City before, Newcastle in between, and maybe the Newcastle game you could rotate a little bit if you want to just gift 3 points to Newcastle. I don't know whether we can do that, but you certainly cannot gift 3 points to Manchester City at Old Trafford. We've got to turn up in this game. We've got to perform in this game. And some of the feedback from the game against Forest was that we actually played quite well. Well, we need to play well again on Sunday then, don't we? Because the reality of the situation with United is that we have lost 13 games this season. I can't remember how many we lost last season, but we've got some really losable games coming up. And we can't be turning into Spurs where you're losing 16, 17 games. We've got to win. I think that Pep Guardiola and Manchester City obviously going for top 5. They've had a bad season. They're still in the FA Cup. Erling Haaland's out for the season. But I think, you know what? Actually, I'm really looking forward to this game. And I do want to talk about what David Ornstein said about Osimhen. And Greg Donald says the players will turn up. But I don't know why it looks like I've got lipstick on. I actually haven't. I don't know. Is that like an allergic reaction to something? I think it is, you know. I don't know what it is. It's a great point. I don't know what it is. I think I've eaten something that doesn't react to me. But a lot of people are saying lipstick, and I've not done anything other than I'm not putting anything on my lips. I tell you, what's wrong with wearing lipstick? Nothing. But I'm not wearing it. Anyway, don't digress. I'll you know what I'll do? I'll wander off for ages. I think that with this game, I'm really looking forward to it because, you know, if it was at home to Southampton, what does it matter? But it's a Manchester derby against our City rivals where we can mess up their race for top 5. And actually, it doesn't matter whether we're both going for relegation, we're both going for title, one's going for top 5 and one's in, you know, the bottom half of the table. We've got a bigger game on Thursday. You just can't, whether Amorim wants to, and I don't think he does, whether the players want to, and I don't think they do, they just can't not take this seriously. I think it will be a really interesting game. And what I do like about it is that we do need to see development over the next few games and weeks and months with Amorim. And if we don't see it on Sunday, I don't think there's nowhere to hide. Basically, he can't lose this game. He's got to get something out of it. Now, maybe it will be a draw, maybe it will be a win, but we can't lose the game and there's nowhere to hide. And he can't pick a weakened team either. So you can't even go on resting players for Thursday because he can't. He's got to try and win the game. And when you look at the Premier League at the moment and you look at where we are in it, we've got 37 points. Tottenham, Everton and West Ham are 3 points behind us. Crystal Palace are 3 points ahead. Now, whether we're going to catch Crystal Palace or not, I don't know. They've got a game in hand. But certainly behind us, there's 3 teams that can catch us. If all 3 of those teams catch us, that's a 9 million loss. And that's something to keep up there. You think these games don't matter, but Tottenham, Everton and West Ham could all go above us. That would be, for every one that does, we lose £3 million. Now, you might go, that's a weird way of looking at it. But it's a factual way of looking at it. And I'll tell you what, Sir Jim Radcliffe and Joel Glazer will be looking at it like that. Where we are at the moment, they'll be banking that 9 million. So it is very important in many ways that we get a result at the weekend. Now, looking at Manchester City and how they've done this season, away from home, they're not very good. They are actually 13th in the league. I mean, if you think it's shocking where we are in the league, Manchester City, sorry, they're 10th. We're 13th with the away record. Man City are 10th in the league for their away record. They've won 6, drawn 3 and lost 6, which is interesting because at home they're 4th. So they've struggled away from home. They don't have Erling Haaland I don't see any I don't see any excuse why we shouldn't be winning this game. Now, this is the predicted lineup. It's subject to change. I mean, we saw on Tuesday night. I mean, I did not expect him to put Xerxes up front and Bruno in the number 10 position. But I think Onana will be in goal. I think Maguire probably deserves to start based on his cameo against Forest. But I actually couldn't see where you'd start him. Like, De Ligt is better. Yoro is quicker. And Mazraoui on the right-hand side is a better fit as well. So he might start Maguire, but I don't really know who you'd leave out because he'll definitely pick Delot at right wing-back. And I think Dorgu has to play left wing-back. So who would you leave out for Maguire? I don't really understand that. You could play him up front, says Greg. Midfield, I think Ugarte needs to play. Interesting stat around Ugarte. He's covered the most distance. He's the second. He's covered the most, in the most distance covered in the midfield across Europe. He's second in the league. So he's second player across Europe for distance covered. I don't get the Ugarte dislike. Yes, he looked a little bit rusty against Forest, but we need him against Lyon. And he's got to play against Man City. Bruno deeper in a game like this, very important. We're not going to be having loads of possession. We're not going to be around their final third. We're going to have to work hard, and I'd be more comfortable with Bruno in the midfield anyway. But certainly against a team like Man City, I think we need Bruno in the midfield. Mount should play if he's fit. I know people will be surprised to see Mount there, but if Mount's fit, he should play. It's not pre-recorded, Penny, no. And Garnacho, I would play over Xerxes simply for defensive work rates. I was sort of split on what he might do. But I think he'd go with Garnacho for the defensive work rate and then Rasmus up front. And I think that's how he will go, but I could be wrong. He might play Maguire. He might play Xerxes. So there we go. That's how I would go with it. Thuto says it will probably be Mount off the bench. It might be Mount off the bench, but I sort of feel that in games like this, if he's fit, he should play. Simple as that. Now, interestingly, David Ornstein has given a couple of updates. Now, we're going to talk about Victor Osimhen, but just in relation to Mason Mount, I don't know why he was asked this question, but David Ornstein said this about Mason Mount. I don't expect Mason Mount to leave. Manchester United will be focused on keeping him fit and bringing the best out of him because they think he is a great fit for Ruben Amorim's setup and style. He also went on to say that with regards to Mason Mount, furthermore, no club will offer United the level of money to produce a profit. And I think, you know what, this is it. Always listen to the full quote because Man United want to keep him fit because they think he's a great fit for Amorim's setup. Also, no club will buy him. And I always laughed when I heard it because I was like, the first bit sounds positive. No, he's a big part of the plans. He fits Amorim's system really well. And anyway, no one will buy him. And both can be true. I don't know why people think it's pre-recorded. It's definitely not. Cloaked Shadow, welcome to the Members Club. I'm gifting out memberships. Smash a like on the video. When we hit 1,000 likes, I'm gifting out memberships. Thoughts on containing Mamouche? I see him scoring, says Constantine. I'll give you my score prediction in a moment. But look, in relation to Mason Mount, I've got him in my starting lineup because I think if he's fit, he is a good fit for Amorim's system. I completely agree with that. It's, seeing that number 7 shirt there, it's like when The Rock appears in WWE. It's so nostalgic. It's legendary, but, will he be here next week? And with Mason Mount, he's got to play. Like, if he's fit, he's got to play because it's like, you know what it's like? On Boxing Day and you bought loads of Christmas food and I don't know, you've got your pate or your mince pies or something, and you look at the sell-by date and it's like the 27th of December and it's Boxing Day and you're thinking, shall I eat them now or save them? Well, you'll forget about it and then they'll be out of date. And it's the same with Mason Mount. We can't, what are we keeping him back for? Like, pick him. If he's fit, he was on the bench against Leicester. That was 2 weeks ago. He was on the bench against Forest. That was a few days ago. By the time we play Man City, it's 3 weeks since he was on the bench against Leicester. He should play. He should play. And if we don't play him, he'll get bloody injured anyway. So pick him. I don't care if it's Garnacho on the bench or Xerxes, but pick Mason Mount. Now, I do agree, if you believe in jinxes, the last time Mason Mount started against Man City was December. He lasted a few minutes and was out for 4 months. So, yeah, okay, you might be a little bit worried about that. But He's a professional footballer who suits the system on 250k a week. Put him in the team. Put him in the team. As for us moving him on in the summer, I think David Ornstein's right. I think if he can stay fit, he'd be an important player in a system that suits him. But even if we wanted to sell him, no one's going to buy him, so he's going to stay. Honestly, Mason Mount is a problem. You should be praying to the football gods every day, morning and night, because we can't sell him. He has a massive contract. He's on £1 million a month. And if he's fit, he's useful. If he's injured, he's a waste of time. Simple as that. Score predictions. Constantine says we're going to have problems containing Mamouche. I've seen Man City a few times this season, and I don't rate them. I really don't rate them. I think at Old Trafford, in a Manchester derby, I fancy us. Now, I don't want to make the same mistake as I did with Forest. I said we'd beat Forest, and we should have done. We just couldn't score, and they scored 1 goal from their best attack. So I'm very wary of that with United. We should get a result in this game. I'm going to go with a draw. Yeah, a draw. Josh says £1 million a month. Yeah, 250 grand a week times 4, £1 million. Simple as that. Keep smashing the like button. When we hit 1,000, I will be gifting some memberships. Now, a few other updates to bring you. So, it all started off with, we've got a Pogba update as well. It all started off with Laurie Whitwell saying about Manchester United and Osimhen that he's not been told that Manchester United aren't looking at Osimhen, which leads him to believe that something might happen when it comes to Osimhen. So that's what was said by Laurie Whitwell in relation to Victor Osimhen. And that got people feeling a little bit excited because Laurie Whitwell has apparently been told that Manchester United have an interest in, well, they haven't denied they have an interest in Osimhen. David Ornstein, almost an hour later, comes out with, there seems to be a consensus amongst Premier League clubs that Victor Osimhen's most likely destination is Saudi Arabia. And Laurie Whitwell's face drops straight away because he's like, I've dropped an exciting bit of news about Osimhen and David Ornstein's just literally two-footed me. Is it spin, says Greg Donald. Well, look, Man United have got journalists that I think take information from the club and put it out there. I think there's so many good stories that could be written and they don't get written because it's all about headlines. And does it do Man United any harm when they're asked about Osimhen to go, no comment? No, it doesn't, because it generates interest, it gets people excited, it's positive. Now, look at it like this. Manchester United were taken over 28% by Ineos and Sir Jim Radcliffe in December last year. No, December the year before. This season is their first full season. They spent 300 million quid and we are having our worst ever Premier League season. Fact. Negativity around the club doesn't do them any good. If you're asked about Victor Osimhen, are you going to say no, absolutely no chance, so that Laurie Whitwell can write that and go, Man United are not in for Osimhen at all. They can't afford him. You write that story, outrage, negativity, Ineos out, Sir Jim out, Glazers out. You get asked about, are you in for Osimhen, and you go, can't say either way. If you want to write something, up to you, but not going to say either way. Knowing full well we're not in for him. Oh, so Man United, they're not saying they're not in for Osimhen. So, oh, positivity, we might be in for Osimhen, we're cooking. So that is, I think, what happens. But the problem with it is that David Ornstein, who is right up there, more credible than anyone else around Man United, apart from probably Fabrizio Romano, gives a truthful update that from all the Premier League clubs he's speaking to, the most likely outcome for Osimhen is Saudi. So it's a blow. It's a blow, isn't it, really? I think David Ornstein's very credible. And I think he wouldn't say something unless he'd heard it. And Osimhen might be heading off to Saudi. But it does show you how if Ornstein hadn't given that update, people would be getting really excited about Osimhen, and it's not true. And you just got to be very, very careful, haven't you? People put stuff out there, and the club probably feed into it because they won't deny it, because they want a bit of positivity bounce. And it probably is spin, Greg, to be honest with you. But what do I think about Osimhen? It sort of fits in with what I've been saying for a while. I think that, he's not opposed to going Man United, even if they're not in the Champions League. He's not opposed to going to Wrexham, even if they're in League Two. That one's made up. But basically what it is we're not opposed to anyone if the price is right. And that always worried me. I don't actually, as much as I'd love him to come to Man United, it does worry me. It would worry me a little bit if a player who is 26 is open to coming to Man United, even if we're not in the Champions League and shit. Because it makes you think, why does he want to come here then? It's either because he loves United or we're paying him silly money. Well, we're not going to pay him silly money. I think Osimhen and his agent are just looking for the best option. And Saudi, if he goes to Saudi, it was always about money, wasn't it? Let's be honest. And Saudi will be held. If Premier League clubs are saying it looks like he's going to Saudi, I remember he was nearly going to Saudi last summer as well. So it probably is money, isn't it? Let's be honest. Mike JBA gifted a membership. Where does that leave us, though? Anana could have saved the shot if he goes forward, says John. Thank you very much. Mike JBA, new member. Thank you very much. So yeah, look, where does that leave us? Well, if Osimhen's off the cards, and then you've got Gyökeres difficult to do, then it probably leads back to what we're all talking about. And to be fair, although his Osimhen update has sort of been, a killer for the Osimhen update, Ornstein on Liam Delap, I expect him to move with Chelsea and Manchester United among his many suitors. So look, we're back with Delap again, aren't we? And that is a little bit of a concern. But look, I've got to be very careful what I say about Liam Delap, because I certainly don't think he's Liam de crap. I think he's a very interesting young striker who will have a lot of suitors, like David Ornstein says. But I'm not going to change my opinion. I think we don't need any more learner drivers. And look, honestly, if we're linked to this lad from Braga, who's, what's his name? Roger Fernandez. I think he's about, I don't know how old he is. It's another learner driver. If we're linked to a 19-year-old midfielder, it's another learner driver. I spoke about it this morning. I'm absolutely convinced that we need some more teachers. We need some experienced players. I don't think we need any more learners, because I tell you what, you put Liam Delap up front next season and he's got Garnacho and everyone else behind him, they ain't going to be thinking about passing to him again. So I don't like the deal. Not because I don't like the player. I don't like the deal. And as I've said many times, Arsenal won't be signing Liam Delap because they don't need a learner driver up front either. They need a guy that's going to score them goals straight away to win them the title. We don't need that type of striker, in my opinion. This is a dying project, so why would anyone join it, says Lisa Reynolds. Thank you very much. Are you watching Chelsea Spurs, says Mohammed. Yes, that's why I'm doing it a little bit early tonight. Thank you very much. And Kieran Cook says, can you shout out my boldy uncle, Gabriel? Love your work, Mark, says Kieran. There we go. Shout out to your bold uncle. Gyökeres is only 18 million more than Delap. I'd spend it, says Marcus. Yeah, I mean, the thing about Delap is, and I did want to add this in before I move on, talk about Pogba. The interesting thing about Delap is that the price of £40 million isn't going to be £40 million if there is lots of interest in him, is there? Look, I'll be very, very consistent. If we buy Delap, I will get behind him and support him and defend him as a new signing. It's not his fault. But I will be very, 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 sceptical of the project of keeping buying young players. There we go. Do you want Delap? Can we do a poll? Says someone in the chat. Yeah. Do you want Delap? Yes or no? Get in the chat. We're not hit 1,000 likes yet, so I can't gift any super chats, but what I can do is I can tell you the latest around Paul Pogba. Some people will love this, some people won't. But David Ornstein on Paul Pogba returning to Manchester United. Pog back again is not on either party's agenda. He continues to train ahead of joining a club this summer. Plenty of interest, but not aware of a firm decision being taken yet. I think that update from David Ornstein is exactly the same thing I and many of you have been saying for a long time. It's never been on Man United's agenda. Never. Like, they are flat about that. You know, you can speak to people in the club, they'll tell you that. They're not that bothered about telling you that. It's never been an agenda. It's been a fan theory, but he's never been on the agenda. And the fan theory was, probably rightly, we had an injury crisis in the midfield. He was back available to play in the middle of March. Do you bring Pogba back on a pay-as-you-play for the final 2 months of the season? Some were yes, some were no, but the reality is he's not done it with anybody. He is working to get back to play for a team next season. So he's a summer signing, in which case it's a no from me anyway, for multiple reasons, but it's a definite no in the summer. Like, you know, you don't want to be buying him permanently. So, yeah, not going to happen, and that's straight from David Ornstein as well. But look, some of you be happy with that, some of you won't. 77% of you don't want Liam Delap. Look, we'll wait and see what happens with that. But bringing it back to the here and the now, who's excited about the Man City game? I mean, I've seen so many people going, can't be bothered, it's all about Leon. I'm like, you know what? The next few games for Manchester United are so exciting. They're so exciting. That Lyon game next Thursday has a lot of jeopardy, a lot of pressure on it. Of course it does. But a Manchester derby, I don't really care. You know, I think the thing about a game against Liverpool or a game against Man City is that regardless of the time of the year, the context of the league, there's something on this game. We can mess up their top 5 race. We can beat Man City home and away this season. Like, it's always a game. It's always an event, and it always matters. So I am very much looking forward to this game, and I think that we'll learn a lot from it. Say what you like about Pep Guardiola. He is still one of the best managers in the world, and his system is not a system that he ever gets spoken about. He will play his system. So how we perform I'm looking at, like, how much possession we can have. I'm looking at how comfortable we can be on the ball. I'm looking at patterns of play, because you're right. There was periods of play in that Man City, in the Forest game, where we moved the ball quite nicely. I remember one in the first half where we were in the bottom left-hand corner, really under pressure, and it ended up with a cross, I think, from, was it Dorgu? And if Garnacho had got on the end of it, it would have been one of the goals of the season. So I want to see that sort of thing against the Man City side. I don't want to see Man City with 70% possession and us playing counter-attacking football. And I think that's the big key about this game. Result important, and I think we'll get a result. But I think we're past that. I think we actually, if Amorim's going to work, if you watch the show this morning, you should check it out, because we were talking about the danger zone for Amorim and the 5 or 6 things that could make his job very difficult. But those things are going to make his job difficult regardless. What he's got to do, if possible, is he can't rely on results. Ten Hag relied on results. Look how he ended up. Mourinho relied on results. Look how he ended up. Ollie relied on results. Look how he ended up. We need a manager that can implement a style of play. And performance now is becoming more important than result. Some people saw a bit of a performance on Tuesday and allowed the result. We've got to start getting performance in. And I think Sunday is a big, big, big test for those players. Just on the protest on Sunday, this is very important. Now, we should hit 1,000 likes now. Angry Man United fans are being urged to sit down rather than stand up in a continued show of defiance against the greedy Glazer owners. Members of the influential 58 supporter group are holding a sit-in protest after the clash with Man City, insisting football is no more than just being a number on a seat where fans can be replaced by more lucrative customers. The message from the club is clear. No matter how long you have followed United home and away, no matter how loyal you have been, if you don't spend enough money, they want us out. They don't care. On Sunday, we stay in our seats. That seat is our seat. They won't force us out. That's the view of 1958 protest group spokesman Steve Crompton, who highlighted, contrary to Sir Jim Ratcliffe's misguided comments, protests are not about results or league position. They never have been, although clearly poor performances on the pitch don't help either. We protest against 20 years of Glazer greed and mismanagement of our football club. We fight to protect fan culture, which our owners, with each passing season, try to dilute and remove the generational match-going fan. On Sunday, we protest by staying in our seat after full time. The Our Seat Not Yours initiative follows a similar venture against Forest in August 2023 and is part of a new wave of action that includes thousands of fans recently marching to Old Trafford in the biggest show of anger since Sir Jim Ratcliffe became a part owner. So basically, it's a sit-in protest on Sunday. And if you're going to be at the game, then obviously you're fully briefed on that there, and I'm sure everywhere else. Yeah, well, look, I think that it'll be interesting to see how many people do it. As I've said many times before, it's hard to imagine. I mean, I tweeted it today, actually. I forgot about this because it came in after the morning show. I got a bit of information from people within the club that it's not from an email. I'm not trying to get them sacked. But the word going around the club at the moment is things can only get better. In fact, the joke is that they're half expecting them to get a tannoy system and start playing the song by Dareem. Things can only get better. But apparently that is the positive vibe going round the club at the moment in the corridors of Carrington and Old Trafford. Things can only get better. It's the motivational thing that's going round the club. Things can only get better. Because in a way, they're probably right. I can't imagine how it gets any worse. But they're trying to motivate. You know, the facts are, from the staff and that Man United employed a year ago, almost 1 in 2 have been sacked. The facts are that in Sir Jim Radcliffe's first season in charge with the Glazers, we're going to register our worst ever Premier League total by a considerable amount. So it's been, factually, and look, we spent £300 million on Ten Hag in the summer and we sacked him in November. So everywhere you look, everything is an absolute mess over the last 12 months. And they're desperate to turn it around. So they're trying to motivate. Things can only get better. And honestly, can you see them getting any worse? I mean, how could it be worse? I mean, and look, I'm not saying things are going to get better. Well, they surely have to. But I'd be saying, well, it can't get any bloody worse, can it? I mean, how can it not get better? I mean, if teams from the Championship could put up a bit of a fight, it would be in a relegation battle. It's, yeah. I mean, look, Burnley and Sheffield United have already been relegated. They've not been promoted yet, so we're not going to get ready. We're not going to get relegated. John says new stadium cancelled. Glinios out is my wish list. William says it can always get worse. I mean, yeah, it could get worse, but I think that honestly, I don't really see how it would get worse. I mean, we could still finish as low as. Let me have a look at this. We could still finish as low as 16th. I don't see Wolves catching us. They're on 29. We're on 37. But West Ham, Everton and Spurs, they're all 3 points behind us. They could move past us. They could do. I don't see us going any higher than 13th. But yeah, I mean, look, what will be will be. If we don't spend in the summer, it will get 100% worse, says Katz. It's getting better all the time. It can't get any worse, says Andy. We're going down the Leeds path, mate, says Madison. It can only get worse if we get relegated, says Rahul. And things should get... hold on a minute. What are your thoughts on these 115 scarves? Was it an April Fool's? I think it was. Mark, I've been struggling with my mental health, says Thomas, for a long time with no one to go to. Your live streams are always there for me. Don't know if you'll see this message, but I want to say thank you, man, says Thomas. Lovely message, Thomas. And I'll tell you what, we are an amazing community. We've nearly got 1,000 likes, so I'm going to gift out some memberships. But can I just also ask that that people just tell us where you're watching from? Because I think, you know, some people are struggling and they love this community and it's a big part of their day. So let us know where you're watching from. And don't forget, I'm going to be on That's Football straight after this. On the poll, do you want Delap? Yes, 27%. No, 73%. I mean, I'd love some people to tell us why you do want him. I'm going to try and predict that. Just to shout out, South Shields is Triple M, which I think is up near Newcastle. Edge is on the toilet. Mate, nothing wrong with being on the toilet as long as you're not edging. London, says Shah. Leicester, says Sam. South Africa, big shout out to South Africa. One of our biggest growing areas, actually, South Africa, over the last 12 months. I don't know why that is, but apparently 5% of our audience is based in South Africa now. Loads of people from South Africa in the chat. What's happened in South Africa? Have you just been introduced to YouTube? I mean, it's very positive for Man United. Lots and lots of South African viewers for the United stand these days. A few people from Denmark, Colombia, thank you very much. Smash a like on the video if you're watching from South Africa, actually. Just interested to see, we're on 1,008, how quickly that goes up. We used to do this all the time. We don't do it enough. Subals in Nepal. Kai with a super chat says, what do you think the average age of the starting team should be? The last game was 25. We need more experience. Look, if Anana's in goal, whatever. Delo, I would change. Dorgu's 20. Yoro, 19 or 18. Delit's 25. Mazraoui's 26. So I'm okay with that if you brought in a right wing back like Frimpong, bit more experience. Midfield of Bruno and Agate I'm okay with. Front three of Rasmus, who's 22, Xerxes, who's 23, and Garnacho, who's 20. 100% we need a 27-year-old there. 100%. Absolutely. 100%. 100% we do. But, you know, experience comes at a price unless they are out of contract. That's always been the way. And I think that... I think my personal theory is I think United know that they need to bring in experience. I just think they also know they don't have the money for it. So, you know, that's what I think. Just gifting 5 memberships now. They're coming in. We did hit 1,000 likes. That's gone in there. And should be able to gift 5 more. There we go. Promised you hit 1,000 likes, legends. There's 10 memberships for you. Get your badge in if you did. Always nice to see badges. We're an amazing community. I appreciate that. Right, everybody. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in tonight. That's your Man City preview. We're back in the morning at 10 o'clock, and we've got Amorim's press conference at 2 o'clock. And don't forget, tomorrow night, we're back in our normal slot of 8 o'clock. It's Friday Night Live, isn't it? So we're looking forward to that. I'll tell you what, I've loved that. I've loved seeing how many people are tuning in from different areas of the world. It just shows you how big the community is and also how big Man United is, really. Jay says, I'm watching from Eastbourne in East Sussex. How do you feel about the training sessions Amorim holds before matches? Do you think it helps? Look, when I used to play the game or when I used to coach the game, one of the best things I ever found from playing and coaching was that some of the intense passing drills we did really helped us in the game. That sort of thing helps. I'm not so sure about shooting because shooting into a goal practicing wise, psychologically, is not the same as shooting with a load of players around you and everything like that. But I think the passing drills work. I think they do. Dudley, born and raised, says BMP. Thank you very much. We're off to do the Chelsea watch along. Yep, I'll see you over there. Get over there. Let us know if you come over from United Stand. I'm live in about 4 minutes' time, so get over there. Got some interesting questions I want to bring into the show tonight and some brilliant either-ors. We had a brilliant one last night, Mbumo or Elanga, and Elanga won with 51%. Very interesting. Speak to you all in a bit. Take care. Stay safe. Thanks for watching, and welcome to the new members. I'll see you in a bit.